Hey everybody, two things. I've been putting this off for a while, this video. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. Um, a couple months ago, I made a list of stuff like, I was going to call them ramble videos. This is going to be a ramble video, where I just talk pretty much about a character or a book or a series that I really, really liked. And this is one of them. This is on the short list of my favorites. And it kind of ties into my Peter Milligan video, because in that video I talked about how there was like the English invasion of comics. You had Alan Moore and Grant Morrison. You know, this is when he was doing Swamp Thing, and Morrison was on Animal Man, and Peter Milligan was doing Shade. And you had Pat Mills and Kevin O'Neill. Prior to this, they had done Nemesis the Warlock. I think that was for 2000 AD, and I have a couple of those issues, but I didn't pull them out because it doesn't really have a lot to do with this. Other than it was, one of their titles. But then I'd have to pull out, other stuff that Kevin O'Neill has done, and everybody's already read The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. So, that's the first thing. The second thing is I will be drinking. Because again, work sucked. But today, moms and pops and boys and girls, we will be talking about martial law. Martial law is well, let's start from the beginning. It was probably 92, 93 when I came across martial law. So it had been out probably 4 years at this point. It's a series of mini-series that kind of bounce back and forth between a couple publishers. It started out as Epic, which is like just Marvel's creator-owned imprint. Archie Goodwin was the editor-in-chief there at one point. And when Marshal Law was there and Archie Goodwin was there, he was like, hey, do whatever you want. In telling someone, Pat Mills, who loathes superheroes, that he can do whatever he wants with a superhero book, I'm not sure that would fly now. But in retrospect, this book is so punk rock. It's so subversive. They not just like poke fun at comic book conventions, not conventions, the groups of people that go and hang out in a room and buy comics. I'm talking about you have your archetypes of superheroes that get just belittled, and they poke a lot of fun at comics, superhero comics in general. And it's great. It's great. It's really, subversive, but there is a lot of satire. And if you kind of miss the satire, you could probably get hung up on the gratuity of the book. It's part of it is kind of harsh. The language is harsh. It can be a little vulgar. The art is amazing, which kind of offsets the gruesomeness in some of the stories. But I'll show you what I got. Like I said, it started out as a mini-series at Epic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Simply called Martial Law. This is him right here. This is Joe Gilmore. I'll get into who Joe Gilmore is really quick. Well, let's start right now. The reason why I decided to do this video now is because I recently scored this off of eBay. They had it as this has got a $50 cover, and it was on eBay for $45 or best offer. I lowballed the shit out of this person, thinking they could just say no, we could haggle, whatever. I got this for $20 free shipping. This is amazing because now, aside from like having to rebag this issue in like 15 years when its polybag is like turned to dust, I don't have to open these books at all. This contains all but we'll get to it. But among of what's okay. Hey, look, I'm so good at showing you guys my ceiling. I still gotta fix that tile. The beginning of this, they have a prologue, which kind of sums up the whole thing, as far as like backstory for Marshal Law. Move these out of the way. In the reality of this book, there was a war in this place called the Zone, which was in Central America. Here we go. And they decided they were going to give, this organization called SHOCC, S-H-O-C-C, decided they were going to give people superpowers so they would have a better chance of winning the war. The war ended up being a stalemate. All these guys came back with post-traumatic stress, but they're all superpowered people with post-traumatic stress. A lot of them got powers, but most of them just can't feel pain. And in war, I guess that's something good you want your soldiers to have. But there's the whole like desensitized, overstimulated at this point kind of thing, and that's a theme that runs through the entirety of the book. Everything is oversensitized. Everything is gratuitous. Everything is just so outlandish. But for this, I think it's brilliant. It works. I couldn't see anybody else other than Kevin O'Neill being able to pull this off art-wise. But, okay, so there's a war. The war ends. This story takes place in San Francisco, but there is this huge earthquake that destroys half of the city. That city is now in ruins. It's run by gangs of ex-military guys that are now superheroes. Heroes. And to find a way to police these unruly masses, they turn to Joe Gilmore, Marshal Law. His tagline right here, it's great. It's, I hunt heroes. Haven't found any yet. I love this book. And I'm sure there's a couple people who haven't heard of Marshal Law, and hopefully you guys check it out. A lot of this I've picked up out of like the dollar bin. There's a couple issues that are pricey if you go to like the big online shops and try to pick them up. But I know there are some like diehard Marshal Law fans out there right now who are like, yeah. Okay, so Marshal Law, Joe Gilmore. Excuse me, a little snotty. He's policing the superheroes in San Fernando, which is what they call San Francisco now. This guy right here, this is the public spirit. This is the most popular superhero in America at the time of this book. He's like Golden Child. He is your Superman archetype. He's even got the little spit curl. Now, the thing about the superheroes in this book is they're all emotionally scum. They're all bastards. Not bastards as in their parents didn't love each other. It's just like bastards, like they're just despicable people. But they're dressed up fancy and everybody loves them. Okay. Anti-hero, good guy. This is issue 3. This is kind of hard to tell. But this dude right here, this is Sleep Man. He is the antagonist in this first series of books. Now, what happens in this in regards to him is he is a serial rapist and murderer of women. Like I said, this subject matter in these books is not for the faint of heart. I wouldn't recommend this for the youngins. I mean, reading Saga is one thing, reading Walking Dead is one thing, but this is just gratuitous for the sake of being gratuitous. The nudity and everything in this book isn't necessarily depicted or necessitated by the story. It's just like, hey, look, boobs. So there's a certain level of maturity I think that you would need to get this and be able to pick up the satire and the just like the punk rockness, if you would, of this book. But this is Sleep Man. He rapes women who, in particular, are dressed up like Celestia, who is Public Spirit's current girlfriend. This is issue 4. Issue 5. And issue 6. And in this, we find out that Public Spirit attempted to kill his ex-girlfriend so he could go on a space mission. And Sleep Man is actually his son. I should have mentioned spoilers. Sleep Man dies in the end of this issue. Public Spirit's... I think he's still alive at the end of this. I can't remember for the life of me. Which is funny, because I've read this like 3 times since I got this. But I can't remember. Okay. So we go through that. So you have him, Pat Mills, making fun of your superhero archetypes. It kind of sets the pace for the rest of this. This is great. This is great, 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 great. These books are collected in trade. Pick it up. Next, we have Marshal Law Takes Manhattan. In this book, he pokes fun at the Marvel Universe in particular. You have his version of Spider-Man and Thor and Captain America and Ant-Man and Doctor Strange. It's just crazy. It's at one point the Captain America character ends up on a spit and he's getting cooked by the Human Torch character. Like, I mean, this book is just crazy. All these people are delusional. They just happen to be superpowered, but they're all, it's great. It's great, great. Yeah, you have the Reed Richards character, and that's the Captain America character, Doctor Strange, and Ant-Man. Excuse me. There's the Thor guy. Great, 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 great stuff. And for like the longest time, this was my favorite of the books. I mean, the first series is amazing. The coloring is a little. It's almost like I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but it's like it kind of looks like colored pencil that wasn't blended. I mean, this is way back '89, so you're not going to have like the digital colors, and it kind of works. I'm like so happy that was not a panel with like some nudity. But yeah, this is a stripper Graham dressed up like Celeste, and she's running through Sleep Man. She doesn't make it. Okay. The first series also introduces us to the Gangrene gang, who are kind of like the running antagonists for Marshal Law. Okay. So we have poking fun at the Marvel Universe. Great stuff. One of my favorites. And then probably 4 or 5 months ago, I picked this up, half off. This is Kingdom of the Blind. This is hands down my favorite